The mind is the quietest battlefield. No one sees the war inside. You wake up thinking you are free. You make choices, follow routines, chase ambitions. But beneath it all, a subtle conspiracy unfolds. It does not wear a uniform. It has no badge. It is the mind itself. Every doubt, every hesitation, every judgment you have internalized becomes an invisible jailer. Most people never notice. They blame the world for their stagnation, never suspecting that their own thoughts have quietly claimed dominion over their lives. This awareness that your mind can be both the predator and the prey is the first step toward freedom. Not a predator outside you, not a threat in the street, but a predator inside, shaping, limiting, controlling silently. The paradox is simple yet brutal. To gain freedom, you must destroy parts of yourself. Not your essence, but the patterns, habits, beliefs that quietly sabotage your potential. Ambition without discipline, desire without direction, fear masquerading as caution. Every unchallenged impulse, every passive acceptance chips away at your sovereignty. Consider a young man hesitating to speak his truth, fearing judgment. Every day he silences a fragment of himself. Over time, the internal censor grows stronger. By adulthood, he becomes a passive observer in his own life, trapped by thoughts he never questioned. History whispers the same truths. Machiavelli insisted that those who wish to command must first confront uncomfortable realities. Nietzsche spoke of becoming who you are through struggle, through confronting what is hidden, what is uncomfortable. Internal command comes before external authority. The mind, left unchecked, is both liberator and jailer. Silence becomes your teacher. Observation becomes your weapon. Waiting, not acting impulsively, reveals which thoughts are safe to nurture and which must be confronted and eliminated. Authority emerges here, the calm precision of self-awareness, the discipline to examine every thought, every impulse, every unspoken assumption. Discomfort is the first spark of liberation, the willingness to look inward and accept that your own mind may need to be confronted is the first act of freedom. To hesitate is to surrender. To act is to reclaim territory you never knew you lost. Step into a space that feels alive. Sunlight hits paths that have been cleared. Trees stand deliberately. Every detail, every branch, every flower exists because someone cared, because someone shaped it. The mind is no different. For most, it is overgrown, tangled, suffocating. Doubts creep. Opinions of others root deep. Past mistakes take space and attention they do not deserve. Left alone, the mind becomes hostile to the self. This is not a theory. Look at a person who avoids challenges, afraid of failure. Each avoidance strengthens old fears. Each unexamined thought grows roots. Life becomes repetitive. Anxiety becomes a habit. Silence becomes a trap. Change is deliberate. Awareness must be active. Observe which thoughts lift you, which weigh you down. Prune with attention, cultivate with discipline. Small decisions matter more than grand gestures. The quiet moments of reflection, the restraint from reacting impulsively, these are acts of construction. Patience is the weapon. Timing is the ally. A glance at a recurring fear and the choice to confront it shifts the balance. Observation turns subtle power into real influence over yourself. The mind, when shaped, is resilient. Untended, it is fragile. By the end, the question surfaces. Do you move through life in a tangled wilderness, or have you created space to think, act, and exist intentionally? This is the crossroads. How you tend your mental landscape determines whether your life is directed or dictated by forces you barely notice.
Violence is not always visible. Sometimes it is applied inwardly, in the quiet removal of what threatens your calm and focus. The mind, if left idle, produces distraction, anxiety, and old habits disguised as safety. Every comfort avoided, every fear left unchecked builds walls. These walls may protect at first, but over time they imprison. Consider someone who obsesses over approval. Every compliment is dissected. Every criticism wounds. Peace never comes. Liberation is withheld, not by others, but by tolerated thoughts. The act of cultivation is aggressive, not cruel, it is precise. Identify patterns that weaken you, challenge recurring doubts, observe impulses that have secretly taken control. There is no applause for this work, no recognition, only clarity and quiet strength. People accept internal oppression in subtle ways, overthinking, chasing validation, yielding to fear. Each act of avoidance reinforces the habit. Mental cultivation demands consistent confrontation, a quiet but relentless engagement. Authority comes from these choices. Liberation is never gifted. It is quietly claimed, day by day, thought by thought. Precision replaces chaos. The mind, once mastered, becomes steady, resilient, unshakable. By the end, the audience understands that peace is not passive. It must be seized through attention, discipline, and the courage to remove what quietly limits you. Hesitation strengthens the chains. Action begins the journey to independence. To dominate is not cruelty. The word originates from domus, home. Control over thought creates a space where clarity and calm exist. Without it, life is a wilderness. Fear, uncertainty, and indecision roam unchecked. History shows it. Julius Caesar's victories were as much internal as external. Each decision precise, each order deliberate. First, command yourself, then the world. Look at someone chasing status without reflection. They mimic others, adopt external markers of success, measure worth externally. Internally, chaos reigns. One opinion shifts them, one critique shakes them. Influence is hollow, freedom is illusory. True autonomy requires patience. Timing matters. Sometimes stillness reveals patterns. Other times decisive action is needed, confronting a belief, letting a habit die, drawing boundaries. Silence becomes a tool, observation a weapon. By the end, the audience grasps that internal authority is not domination over others. It is sovereignty over the mind. Freedom is claimed from within. Without it, external control is fragile. With it, life itself becomes navigable.
Liberation arrives through responsibility, not comfort. No ideology, guide, or sympathy can replace disciplined attention to the mind. Waiting, seeking approval, hoping for permission, all are chains. The warrior stands guard quietly. The battle is subtle. Thoughts creep in, fear nudges, doubt whispers. Discipline acts without drama. The mind is protected, maintained, controlled. There is no malice, only vigilance. Consider someone relying on validation to move forward. Each day is a repetition of dependency. Strength never grows. The mind remains vulnerable. The warrior refuses this passivity. Daily habits, deliberate reflection, conscious decisions, these become the shield and sword. Inner peace is earned, not found. It is confrontation and resolution repeated endlessly. Complacency invites invasion. Vigilance breeds stability. Power is quiet, almost invisible. Its effect is unmistakable. By the end, the audience internalizes a truth. Self-mastery is continuous, and discipline is the only defense against the erosion of control. This is not a lesson, it is a reality. You live or surrender. Neglect the mind, and disorder spreads. Patterns of weakness echo outward, in relationships, in work, in perception. Individual inattention becomes societal fragility. Hobbes observed conflict arises from unrestrained impulses. Internally, the same principle applies. Picture a person ignoring repeated errors. They fail to reflect.
fail to observe, fail to correct. Mistakes compound, dependency grows, chaos enters slowly, unnoticed. Small compromises become habits, habits become character. History offers warnings. Empires crumble not from outside attack, but from internal decay. Societies implode when minds collectively fail to govern themselves. Neglect is contagious. It spreads silently. Psychologically, patterns emerge: anxiety, indecision, self-sabotage. External influence becomes manipulation when internal strength is absent. Awareness, observation, reflection, these are the only antidotes. By the end, the audience senses urgency. Internal mastery is not optional. It shapes not just personal life, but the environment. Without it, freedom is illusory. With it, life becomes coherent and actionable. The invisible consequences of neglect are relentless, precise, unforgiving.
Sovereignty is claimed. It is an act, deliberate and resolute. Freedom is not granted. Authority over the mind is earned through consistency, attention, and daily practice. Each morning, confront recurring fears, observe impulses, challenge beliefs, reinforce boundaries. Internal rituals are the scaffolding of strength. Quiet decisions accumulate, shaping perception, habits, and life. Consider a person deliberately refusing validation. Each moment they assert clarity, they shift power back to themselves. The mind, once chaotic, becomes ordered. Thoughts are directed, attention focused. Autonomy is tangible, lived, undeniable. Observation, patience, silence, these remain tools. External approval is irrelevant. Power is measured in unshakable calm, in decisions made without drama, in the capacity to act intentionally in any circumstance. By the end, the audience confronts the truth. The inner force is not chaotic or destructive. It is precise, protective, creative. A silent authority that governs everything from thought to action, and it demands a response. Claim it, live it, stand in your mind like no one can reach you, and never, ever step back.